Good morning everyone and welcome back to the Two-Headed Wolf Gaming channel and last Epoch, as today we're going for a brand new class, the Rogue. For 3 days we have gone through the Sentinel and all of the mastery which it has to offer. It has been a really interesting experiment trying them out, going for different ideas. If you are curious about this class and you want to see what it has to offer without too much spoilers, look at the runs which I've done previously. But today we're going for the Rogue and I'm really excited to try out a new class. And as far as masteries go, I felt like it's appropriate to go for a Marksman as a first experience. Why not go for a bow build before anything else? Then we're gonna get into Blade Dancer, which should be interesting, especially as I'm guessing that the Rogue is a bit more squishier than the Sentinel. And then go for the Falconer afterwards. So for now we're gonna go for the Marksman. But let's take a quick look here at the key skills as per usual, just to figure out what we're starting with. We're not gonna read through the skills as we will try them out in the game. However, we're gonna look at the power scaling tags at the bottom just to see in which area we're going on. We have Flurry here, which is a physical, melee and bow attack apparently, so it might depend on the weapon that we have equipped. We also have Shurikens, that is physical and throwing, Traversal and Dexterity here for shift. I'm guessing that the Rogue has to have the ability to move quickly. We have physical and throwing attack once again, throwing attack and area, physical and bow attack. An interesting combination, seems very versatile in the way that it plays. We're gonna have to test it out. And I'm guessing that the Marksman is mostly about bow attacks, right? Lightning and bow attack, physical and bow attack, buff and dexterity, physical and bow attack with damage over time. Okay, we're pretty much going to have to choose probably certain skills from here that work really well with a bow and then probably specialized into some sort of elemental or a multiple shot bow ability. But we shall see this within the game. Let's go. And here we are. We start with a sword, weirdly enough. I thought that we would start with the bow, but apparently that is not the case. And we also start with the normal attack, which we will replace with Flurry, a bow or melee attack that performs 3 rapid strikes. The last strike can be cancelled by moving. Okay, interesting, very interesting. So it's 3 attacks in succession, and that last one can be cancelled. Nice. I like the quick strikes. Okay. I see what it's going for here. We're not gonna specialize today in Flurry. Most likely we will do it tomorrow when we're going for that Blade Dancer, right? I think that's the skill that we're gonna start with before we get the mastery and actually get to specialize in that one. I'm curious to see even more skills here. Somehow after 3 days of going for the Sentinel and pretty much grinding these early levels just to get to the mastery, I really wanted to see a brand new class, and I'm happy that now we're here. Okay, we've even found a bow, which is perfect for us. Okay. I am not sure I'm enjoying this more than I'd be enjoying the blade, just because it has that AoE. Or not AoE, but it has a wide strike, right? It heals multiple enemies. Seems to have a slightly bigger damage that way. Better for clearing mobs. I should probably... You know what? I will do something here in a second. We also gained shurikens here. Okay. Let's see. Throw 3 shurikens in a cone. Well, that's fairly easy to understand. I don't think it really complements our bow ability, right? It's not something that feels that special. Let's try to craft something on here. I am thinking fire, maybe? Shall we add? I think fire damage could be really good. Maybe... Can I go for a chance to ignite? Is that something that we could do here? Yeah. Okay. I could push this even further, but maybe we'll find a better bow later on. For now, we're just gonna stay with this. I'm hoping it's going to work. 37, yeah, we have 58 with the bow. Definitely, I'm not going to be using the shurikens for this build. I can see its appeal in a way, especially if I'm thinking of something like the Blade Dancer, where We're doing melee damage. Having shuriken, maybe even specializing in shuriken, might be a way in which we can get further to enemies which are annoying and sitting behind melee attackers. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. And now that I'm thinking about it, I did throw fire damage on this bow, but that was probably the worst choice that I could have done. We are fighting fire enemies. I would be surprised if these enemies don't have fire resistance. But I guess you live and learn.
They won't forget that.
Okay, copy. Do your magic. At least I made good copy. I like the look of the rogue. Okay, another level up. We now have the shift ability. Okay, that's a nice runaway there.
When you arrived, if they might want, are you all good? Name, come.
Okay, so this ability is shift. Dash a short fixed distance in the target direction, great. If I was to go for passives, what do we have open? Swift Assassin, your melee throwing and bow attack have increased attack speed and deal additional physical damage. Okay. Steady Hand, getting extra dexterity and health per point. Each point of dexterity adds 4 dodge rating and improves skills that rely on skillful handling of weapons such as flurry and shurikens. Seems like the way we should be going in, right? And Guile getting 10 dodge per point invested and some poison resistance. I like getting this extra dexterity for damage. Increasing speed. But I feel like I'm going to get this. Let's get 10 dodge to begin with and a bit of poison resistance. We don't have to worry about poison for now, but the dodge should definitely help. We're not starting with a whole lot, so I feel like this is a good addition. What is it, a 5% chance to dodge? Not the best in the world, but there you go. Pretty soon we're gonna reach level 4, we'll be able to specialize in our flurry ability to make sure that we're doing better with the bow. At least until we can find this proper skill.
So much destruction. And for what?
At this moment, at least I am happy that we have an ability to move away from enemies in a very quick manner. At this moment we have this support, this warrior here, but he's not gonna stay around for long, so we need to make sure that we have enough abilities to get out of danger. If I remember correctly, whatever previous skills we've had in character creation, there was nothing there that said minions, right? I'm guessing that the Falconer might have the minions, although I know it's a bit more versatile. It has more things going for it than actually just having a Falcon. I'm not sure exactly how we will protect ourselves here. What's the thing that we're going for? Okay, passive skill point. At this moment, we're gonna go with some extra health and dexterity. We've also unlocked acid flask. Throw a flask of acid that explodes, dealing physical damage on impact, poisoning enemies and using their armor. Okay. Okay, interesting. So what am I going to invest in? Well, if I wait a while longer to level 5, we can get Puncture, an extended melee stab or piercing bow attack that has 30% to inflict bleed on hit. Bleeds inflicted by Puncture have 30% increased duration. If I was to go with Flurry, what would be the idea? I can see some bows here, or some arrows here, so let's check out what we have. Boundless Bows. Flurry is now a channeled ability that costs 5 mana per second to maintain. You do not regenerate mana while channeling. Okay, so we're constantly attacking. That is interesting. Flurry deals more damage for each second channeled up to a maximum. To provide, you have additional physical and elemental resistance while channeling Flurry, so it's a bit of defense while we're doing the channeling. If you are using a bow, you fire arrows faster, but they are less accurate. And Fusillade, if you are using a bow, every 6th arrow is replaced by multi-shot, which is what? For nodes that affect the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd arrow separately, this means that the 3rd arrow for every shot rotation is replaced by multi-shot. Multi-shot cast this way benefits from multi-shot skill 3, but not from Flurry's skill 3. A bow that attack that fires a cone of 5 arrows in the target direction, aiming the cursor further from your character reduces spread. Okay, so it's this multi-shot ability. We would be able to activate it using Flurry as well. This one has 8 mana cost, this has 0 mana cost. So going this direction and actually activating multi-shot every 6th arrow, the multi-shot would benefit from the upgrades over here. Okay, that can be something interesting to use. There's some leech abilities here, some mana gain. We could go with Flurry's 1st, 2nd, and 2nd strike deal less damage, but the 3rd strike deals more damage. This seems to be sort of a melee thing rather than anything else. Reduce damage to the first two. No, actually it could work with a bow as well. Some bleed. Okay, so this is Flurry here. What about Puncture? Puncture has a little bit more bleed to it. Converts to poison. Or poison to bleed. Okay, interesting. Bow hit damage, shadow dagger chance, immobilize on hit. I do like that. And we can turn bleed to poison instead. Directly using puncture causes several mirages to briefly appear at either side of you, attacking in the same direction. Okay, and do those mirages do damage or what? We have here, what was it called? I'm looking at puncture here, immobilize. I like immobilize, I think it's great. Okay, we don't have immobilize unfortunately on Flurry. So we're gonna change this as soon as possible. For now, let's just get a bit more damage, why not? We're gonna despecialize during the next level, and we're going to be figuring out the best way to go forward and actually give our ability some immobilize, right? We're gonna go with puncture. Probably we're going to go into poisons. I'm thinking that poison might be the best way that, or the way in which I want to make a build at this moment. Okay, I like the amount of damage that we're doing there. I poisoned the enemy. We reduced his armor. We can throw multiples to make sure that he's really down on both armor and poison. This must be the new record I have for killing this boss or this mini boss. Melee is a bit tougher as we have to get out of its range more often than not. I guess the hammer throw also went quite well for us when fighting these enemies. I'm done with the town. Just went through the stash and took out these boots. I feel like it's going to work much better for our rogue friend here. There are these unique boots, getting that extra dodge rating if we've been hit. Recently we get 70% increased dodge rating, which we will scale up with most of the stuff that we find. Some dexterity, which is going to help as well, increased movement speed, and 5% less damage taken while moving. In this relic, getting increased critical strike chance, change the mask here for a few extra bonuses, pottering, which gives me a bit more dodge chance. So we're now at, as you can see, I got hit there, so now I'm at 31 dodge chance. That is pretty good. That's why those boots are really good there. Guess I could throw in some poison here. But I'm really looking forward to Puncture. I feel like it's going to work really well for us, at least for an early game. I think for later on in the game, I'm definitely going to go with something like Lightning Arrow. I tried the Lightning Javelins using the Sentinel towards the Forge Guards class. And unfortunately, that was interesting, it was fun, definitely worked for a while to play like that. But then I realized that the Forge Guard doesn't really have passive skills or anything like that that would scale up with lightning damage, unlike something like the Paladin. And so I despecialized out of it and I went in a different direction. We went with physical damage. I guess one other way I could have gone forward would with fire damage, and there's a lot more potential there with some fire. I'm imagining like getting the fire damage and explosion and things like that could have worked a bit better, but either way it worked. A two-handed spear, nothing we care for. I do care about the gloves because we don't have any kind of pairs. But anything helps at the moment. I like this idea of throwing poison as well and running away. I might just specialize in Acid Flask also. Not sure at the moment. Haven't played enough to really figure out what I'm going to do here. But then we have this. So this is the Puncture. It's of course one hit at a time. It's not like this. But it does go through multiple enemies, and I do like that. At least for early leveling, this is going to be very efficient. And that's what we're going to do. We're gonna go towards specializing now in Puncture. So we're gonna specialize here. We're losing a level in the process. We're going to have to level it back up. Let me take care of these crawlers or sacred blooms or whatever. Okay, and it has 0 mana cost, so I can replace Flurry with this. I could even leave Flurry here for now. Don't know if I'll use it for long, but there it is. And now we're gonna look in the specializing section. Puncture has a chance to shred enemy physical resistance. I do like that. We could also go for some extra bleeding chance. The first focus that I feel I should go towards is this, the immobilize on hit. Every 10 seconds, your neck puncture immobilizes enemies on hit, causing them to be unable to move for 1 second. The question is whether we go through this path or whether we go through this path. Definitely through here is easier. You can see that we need to invest 1 point, 1 point, and then it's 2 and 1, where here we need 2, 1, 1, and another 2. We go to the right, the longer way. We get some physical resistance shred. We get melee range increase. We get armor shred's chance and armor shredding increased effect of armor shred. Maximum elements counted 1 per point, so puncture hits deal more damage per unique negative elements on the target. So if we go with both poison and bleed, and maybe we throw in some ignite or anything else like that, then it's going to be like 7% more damage. Okay, that's nice. Oh, we can get slow here as well, so that's another element. Hits that hit damage against immobilized 8% per point, okay. Hit damage, extra damage once again, and then immobilize. It's a long path, but it's a dangerous path for the enemy. Puncture has a chance to apply a Shadow Dagger on hit. What does Shadow Dagger do? Upon reaching 4 stacks of Shadow Daggers, the daggers plunge into the target, dealing physical damage. This damage scales with modifiers to melee and throwing damage, and always critically strikes. Okay. Yeah, this works really well with melee, or if we use shurikens, which are throwing attacks. When used with a bow, puncture deals more hit damage per enemy is pierced. Okay, this works with this. And if I go this way, extra damage, reduced attack speed. Every 4 seconds, your first few direct uses of puncture are rapid strikes, which have increased attack speed. 150% more. That's good. Okay. I'm going this way. We're gonna go for extra damage. At the moment, we cannot get enough speed until we get the next skill. But getting this extra damage here, I feel like it works, even for the reduced attack speed. I mean, how much worse can it get compared to what we have now? Not much. Another short bow, is it better? It's just a simple one, unless we want to forge it into something else, maybe throw in some cold damage. I don't think we care about it too much. Another thing that we could do, we could go on the side of the extra damage per melee, not per melee, per... what was it called? Element. We could make a bow where we could give it a chance to ignite, chance to shred armor, chance to bleed, chance to poison, or actually no, we can get poison and bleed through skills. How do we do that? We can get poison, we can get slow, and we can get bleed through the skill tree of puncture. We can do that. And then we can make a bow which will provide us with shield. I'm trying to think at this moment. So we're going with shield. Let's throw some of this poison. Shield, ignite, electrify maybe, and I guess we can only apply two of these debuffs, right? Because we have prefix and suffixes, and we only can have two. I think that's the case, right? We can only have two per weapon, which means that we can scale up some of the fire damage or poison damage or whatever we want to do, but only get two more effects out of it. So that would be four, let's call it 5 effects in total. I'll have to look exactly what the ailments, maybe not everything is counted as ailment, like shred armor might be considered a debuff or something like that. I'll have to look it up, but that could be an idea. That could be an idea. And it's not a bad one. Whether it's going to be a successful one, well, that's something else entirely. And I do wonder, now if I look here, how many points can we invest in this? 5? Oh, but it doesn't. So maximum ailments counted 1 per point. Damage per negative ailment is... Ah, I see. So we start at this moment, if we invest 1 point, we only get 7% damage. But if we invest another point, then we can reach 14% damage if we have 2 ailments. We will need to invest, and I guess that's showing us pretty much the maximum amount of ailments that it counts, which is 5. Right? So no matter how strong I would make the bow, we would still have a maximum of 5 elements there, which is a 35% increased damage. It's not the greatest. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest either. Okay, I got a bit less excited at this moment with the current situation. I really hope for a bit more, but what can you do? I guess that plan did not work. Doesn't mean it can't work. It's just that it's not, the scale of it cannot be pushed easy limits. Or maybe, now I don't know if that is the case at all, I have no proof for anything, but maybe there is a chance that you are finding items which can increase the amount of ailments that you can get there. I don't know, maybe. Good, so we went with rapid strikes. I am going to go with even more dexterity. Okay, I saw the rapid strike there. A light quiver. Hey, so now we're equipping quivers. I even forgot about quivers. Since the Sentinel can't equip them at all, or I guess he might be able to equip them, but doesn't really make sense. Okay, so far so good. It's not a bad character, it feels decent to begin with, definitely because I'm attacking from a range. There's not a whole lot that I have to worry about. But it's pretty much what you'd expect from a bow character to begin with. Nothing over the top impressive. We will have to get into the class, the mastery class probably, or even see how the tree looks later on in the game. Doing a lot of damage though. In comparison to whatever I had with the Sentinel, this is definitely a new level of damage. Really powerful. So what do I do now? Do I keep going with this? I don't think I want more dexterity. I believe what I want is more dodge. Now we have Smoke Bomb. Drop a smoke bomb at your feet that blinds enemies and grants you haste while you remain inside it. The smoke bomb grows in size over its duration, lasts 4 seconds. Okay, I feel like this one should be here. We'll let it recharge and we'll try it out just to see how it looks. Okay, nothing over the top crazy. You move in, you get out, that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Another passive point. And another loading screen because I misclicked. And what do we have here? Evasion, you take less damage while moving and have increased dodge rating. Minus 4% damage taken while moving and 5% extra dodge rating per point invested. That can be pretty good. If I invest the maximum amount of points here, we would get minus 20% damage while moving and 25% dodge rating. That's quite good. Twin Blade, you can dual wield melee weapons by equipping a sword or a dagger in your offhand. You take more damage while dual wielding. Okay, something for tomorrow, definitely. And I guess that's about it. Let's go with Evasion at the moment. I'm going to leave... I am thinking that I am going to leave this at 2 points for now while I keep going up in stats there. Just because I can get some dodge on the equipment. And thus the flat amount of dodge can be pretty good or pretty high without wasting skill points. Yeah, I am definitely doing good damage. And this is even without having to throw the potion here. One thing which the developers have done here, I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever we are lower on health and we have the maximum amount of potions in our sash, then when you go over a health potion, what happens is that you auto use it. Basically, you pick it up and you heal yourself automatically, and I do like that effect. I think it's a really nice quality of life decision. Good, we'll run away here, we'll shoot at the crowd. Puncture definitely seems like I have the right choice there. I am going to look at Flurry one more time just to see if there was anything related to like piercing damage or anything like that. Maybe grow through an extra target or who knows what. Probably not, as I'm thinking Flurry wants to apply most of the time to melee attacks as well.
Not here. It isn't safe.
Okay, nothing too great, we didn't get anything special there. But what would we want to see? So we're going here to Flurry and we say Pierce maybe?
These talks are hardly worth it if you don't know why Orion is after.
Doesn't seem like that is the case. So what I was saying, because it's also focused on melee attacks, I'm guessing that this is a limitation, I guess. Although there's one more thing which I thought about, and that's where something like Flurry can work even better with. If you are thinking about certain abilities such as bleeds and poisons, what you want to do is do damage over time and apply stacks. If you can do 3 quick attacks in a row with Flurry, rather than doing one of these powerful attacks at a time, then you're going to apply a lot more status effects, which would make that skill better for damage over time than this one. Okay. I'm saying to myself, Puncture hits deal more damage against slowed and immobilized targets. We're not applying any of that, but we want to go towards immobilized at the moment. So I thought that this applies slow, but it does not. Puncture can be charged, using puncture with a melee weapon to deal damage in a large area, and causes puncture with a bow to deal more damage per second charge. After 1 second, it releases automatically. And we can get 100% more charge speed, and which also blinds on hit. That is actually cool. Okay, we going further here, we have a new skill called Cinder Strike, which is usable with a bow. Once again, we have 3 quick attacks. I don't think I'm going to go with this. I have seen fire damage so far. We have played with it. I can imagine what it has to offer. Basically, it's these explosions and things like that, which definitely can be useful. But I want to try something else for a change. And I guess this is pretty much it for the moment. I don't think there is anything that we should really see for now. I think that's about it. I am going to be moving around and I'm going to be farming. What are our next skills? Umbral Blades, then Decoy, Ballista. I think we might just return for this class. I don't think there's anything that we really need to worry about. I'm going to move around and farm. I might even farm until we get our first mastery. But I will decide along the way, depending on how much power I am missing while I'm going forward. And depending on what modifiers we see, I might decide to go for one less episode or one more episode. Really depends. At the end of the day, we want to see and we want to learn what does this class have to offer, get a good idea for it, and not worry too much about other things. With this in mind, hope you have enjoyed it. The next episode will be here as soon as this one is done, and thus I'll see you in the next one.